Okay, so hi everyone. Yeah, I've decided to come back today and do another video because I felt like I wanted to do a tribute to Diego Maradona. So this is why behind me you can see the club crest, which is for Boca Juniors. This is a little nod to Diego's favourite team. Where I understand he's got his own private box and he's often seen leading the singing. And um, I heard Gary Lineker saying the other day that he went to see Booker play with Diego, and his daughter was like holding on to him while he's hanging over the balcony of his box, waving his shirt in the air and berating the players and shouting and screaming. And she had to hold on to him to literally stop him falling out of the box. Anyway, so yeah, sadly, as we all know, Diego passed away, as I like to call him, El Dios, passed away on the 30th of October. He was born on the 30th of October 1960 and passed away Wednesday, just gone, the 25th of November. He, in my opinion, he's by far and away the greatest football player that ever lived. There's absolutely, for me, in my mind, there's absolutely no shadow of a doubt about it. People talk about Pele, they talk about Cruyff, they talk about Zidane, they talk about all sorts of other players, but in my opinion, none of them come anywhere near to being as good as Maradona. Gary Lineker actually made, or someone I heard this morning on the radio was talking about Maradona and made a very funny quote. And they said, well, basically, the things that Zidane could do with a football, Diego could do with an orange. And for me, that just sums it all up, really. He was one of two joint winners of the FIFA Player of the 20th Century Award. He had exceptional passing, vision, ball control, and dribbling skills, and it wasn't uncommon to see him dribbling past several players on a mazy run. Also, in addition to that, the skill factor he had, his presence and leadership on the field were second to none. Managers of clubs that he played for and also the Argentine national team often encouraged him to pump up his teammates. There is a story that in one particular game against England, he was in the dressing room berating his teammates to go out and revenge their brothers who'd fallen in the war against United Kingdom for the Malvinas. Anyway, so onwards. Diego played in the classic number 10 role for club and country. And during his playing career, he set the world transfer fee record on two occasions. First, when he moved to Barcelona, and then when he moved to Napoli. And during his playing career, he played for Argentina's juniors, Boca Juniors, which is and the club crest, as I said, which is behind me, is that of Boca Juniors. He also played for Barcelona and Napoli, as well as Seville and Newell's Old Boys. But he is most famous for his time spent at Napoli and Barcelona. In the early 1980s, Diego, it is a little known fact that Diego nearly moved to Arsenal on two separate occasions. Now, I know that some of you will probably think that I'm making this up, but it's actually true. I'm going to show you a newspaper cutting in shortly that will prove that for you. But apparently the deal never went through. despite Diego being very keen on the move, because the English FA didn't want anyone from outside the European Union coming to ply their trade in England. And also at the same time, Arsenal were looking to sign one of his teammates as well as part of the deal. And for those of you who think that Arsenal wouldn't have been able to afford to buy him, then don't forget that at that time, Arsenal were known as the Bank of England club and were it's widely thought that they were by far and away the richest club in England. Anyway, so let's look at this newspaper clip. Okay, so that's the newspaper clip, and as you can see, is that Diego was talking about how he wanted to come and play for Arsenal, and Arsenal were trying to sign him. As you can see there at that time, I think he was only 19 at the time as well. He was on a reported £7,500 a week with Boca Juniors. And yeah, it looked like it was gonna happen as well. But that idiot in the picture, Graham Kelly, well, how he ever managed to become such a leading figure at the English FA, I have no idea. But anyway, he did. So let's not dwell on that. I really don't want to waste my time and breath talking about that clown. Anyway, so yeah, so there's proof that it did nearly actually happen. So that would have been absolutely amazing. And I remember at the time, I knew about this at the time. It was announced one evening, I think on Midweek Sports Special or Grandstand, that Arsenal were trying to sign him. And I remember being really, really excited. Anyway, so let's carry on. Okay, so we've just looked at the newspaper clip, which was quite interesting. Anyway, so moving on, when he moved to Napoli, that was quite interesting because the reason it was interesting for me is because he deliberately chose to go to Naples because he had offers to go to Juventus, Milan, some of the big Italian giants in the north of the country. But he deliberately decided to go to Napoli because it's a very poor area and city of Italy in the south of the country. And there's a lot of animosity, as probably most people know, between the north and the south of Italy. And before he went there, Napoli had never ever won an Italian title or had any success in Europe. But after he went there, they won two Italian titles, and then also a UEFA Cup whilst he was playing there. And also another interesting story about him was that when he first arrived there, and this story sort of, for me, sort of sums up the man that he was. He found out about a charity match that was taking place for a very sick child in the city. And despite being asked not to, well, being told not to attend by Napoli and his teammates, he decided to go along, and he played in the charity match and helped raise lots of money for this poor kid. Anyway, so during his playing career, he played 491 games at club level and scored 259 goals. So moving on to his international career with Argentina, he earned 91 caps and scored 34 goals at senior level. He played in 4 World Cups, and which included the famous 1986 World Cup, where he 1986 World Cup and also the 1990 World Cup, where he almost single-handedly took the Argentinian national team to 2 World Cup finals. And in 1986, obviously, as we all know, they won the tournament. There's also obviously the famous hand of God goal that he scored against England, and also which also included the goal which many people would consider to be the greatest goal that was ever scored. But in my opinion, the second goal that he scored against Belgium in the semi-final was even better. In the game against Belgium, that goal that I'm talking about, he's being marked by about 4 or 5 players, and he still managed to get past them and score. It was just absolutely sensational piece of skill. So at the end of my video, in the description for my video, I'm going to put some shortcuts for some different videos that you can watch online from other people, where you can find out more about Maradona and look at the goals that he scored. So that would be worth looking at if you're interested in finding out more. Also, the other day I heard Gary Lineker talking about him, and he talked about an incident where they were both playing for a rest of the world team against a English Football League 11 at Wembley Stadium. Now, while they were all sitting in the dressing room, apparently Maradona was sitting there and just playing keepy uppy with a rolled up sock. But the most staggering thing was that Lineker said was that when they went out on the pitch, he was kicking a ball right up in the air as high as it would go, and then he was able then to trap the ball and bring it under control again and do it again without it touching the ground. And he managed to do this about 13 times. Now, apparently, Lineker said that when they went back to their respective clubs, they were all trying it in training, and the most that anyone ever was able to do it for was 3. So that just shows you the talent of the guy. If we now move on, with his international career, he played 91 full games and scored 34 goals in those games. And then he also played 15 games for the under-20 team and scored 8 goals in those games. The game I was talking about earlier, the rest of the world 11 against the Football League 11, I was at that game. And I remember watching him play, and it's one of my greatest pleasures that I was lucky enough to be able to go and see him play. Now, with his coaching career, he did actually, the height of his coaching career is obviously when he became coach of Argentina's national team in November 2008. And then he went on to be in charge until the 2010 World Cup finals ended. So that's Diego. What an amazing character, and one that will be sorely missed by everyone, I guess, particularly in Argentina, where he's seen as a god. And the fact that Lionel Messi said that that he's gone, but he'll always be with us because he's eternal. That just sums it up, really, doesn't it? So yeah, that's that's it really. I just want to pass on again my condolences and best wishes and sympathies to all his friends and families and colleagues. And like I said, in the description for this video, I'm going to put some links where you can go and find out more about him, because he's an amazing character, to be quite frank. Anyway, well, thanks for watching the video, and take care, and I look forward to seeing you again next Saturday when I release the next episode of England's most successful team. Don't forget to check out today's episode, which I released earlier today, because that's quite an interesting video as well, I guess. Anyway, take care. Thanks a lot. Bye.